Hello guys, welcome back. I have been away from this channel for so long. So much in my life has changed. But the cat is out of the bag, y'all. We are moving to China and I am ready to share the journey. I'm back, I'm better than ever, I'm rejuvenated, I have a game plan, and I'm ready to go. So this video is going to be about how we obtain our Chinese visas. Last time I was on this channel, we were in Mexico, we were living the life, we were having fun, we were vibing out. Now we have a daughter. We still want to live out of the, USA, and we really just want to explore and we want to see what's out there for us, and we don't feel like we should have to limit ourselves just because we have a child. She can come along with us. Any country that children live, children can go to. Okay? So first of all, you might be like, where are you even recording this at? I'm literally outside. We sold everything, and we're in an Airbnb for now, and we leave in 13 days. So it's intense. Anyways, so before you even start like trying to get your paperwork together for your Z visa, make sure that you are in good communication with your employer and they're telling you everything that you need. Now there's two ways to go about getting a visa. You can use an agent or you can do it yourself. I'm a DIY girly, mainly because we were on a time crunch. So I just felt like I could do it faster on my own. That depends on if there's a consulate near you. There are, I think, 5 consulates in the US that serve, or 5 Chinese consulates in the US. So if you're not in a state nearby one of those consulates, then it might benefit you to use an agent. So I decided to do it on my own. So this video will be how to do it on your own. So for my Z visa, I knew that I needed my work permit, my invitation letter from my job, and I needed all of my documents authenticated. Aside from my Z visa, I was also applying for an S1 visa for my daughter and my husband. So for that, we needed to get some documents authenticated as well. So step 1, gather up all your documents. This might look like your degree, your resume, your birth certificate, your passport, your non-criminal record, your marriage license if you are married, your child's birth certificate, and since we're traveling with our daughter, we did a basically like letter of consent, like she's allowed to go with us. Somebody told me that we needed that. That was not on the information page on the Chinese consulate's website. So if you're going with a child, even if both of you are going, just write up a letter. I can insert a template into the comments and make sure that you get that notarized. So what is authentication? Authentication, for the purposes of a Chinese visa, is a 3-step process. 1, you need to get it notarized by a notary. 2, you need to get it authenticated by your State Department. And then 3, you need to get it authenticated by the Chinese consulate. So you can do a notary at your bank, city hall, your state authentication. You can go to like your Secretary of State. I don't know what it's called in other places, but it's called Secretary of State here. You can get the documents authenticated, and then you're going to go to take all of that, and you're going to go to the Chinese visa. You're going to take all of that, and you're going to go to the Chinese consulate, and you're going to ask for authentication there. So I already had a majority of our documents. The only document that I needed to get was a non-criminal record. So I got one from my local police department, and then I got one from the state website. The reason that I got both was because I did a lot of research on Reddit, and I saw that sometimes they would accept the ones that were website generated, and sometimes they would not. So I got both. My school also required me to have an FBI clearance report, but I did not have to get that authenticated. If your company requires you to get that authenticated, that's going to have to go to DC, and that's going to take you anywhere from, I think, 11 to 13 weeks alone just for that one piece of paper. So you can imagine that if you have to gather a lot of documents, this can be a lengthy process, and if you're doing it on your own, you need to be extremely organized, and you need to take multiple copies, point blank period. Then you need to make photocopies of the document and the document's state authentication. So the notary will be on the document. The state authentication will be a paper that's stapled to it. You need to photocopy both of those papers before you get to the Chinese consulate, because they're going to ask you for your original and they're going to ask you for a copy. You're going to turn all of that in for authentication. They'll double check, verify, and they'll tell you to come back in about 3 to 4 business days. So I live in Michigan. The nearest consulate is Chicago. So I was going back and forth 4 hours to do all of this. So I can't remember the price of authentication. Actually, I think the price was $25 per document, and I did an express fee because I was trying to get this stuff done pretty quickly. And so I think I ended up paying $50 per document. I got my background checks authenticated because I wasn't sure which one they would take at my visa application. I got my daughter's birth certificate authenticated, and I got our marriage certificate authenticated. So I paid $200 for authentication. At the Chinese consulate, I probably paid, I think I paid $1 at the Secretary of State for each document. And then for the notary, I was able to go to City Hall where they charge $5 for the first document and like $2 for each subsequent document. So just for the authentication alone, you're looking at, let's just say $300 to be safe. That's if you're traveling with a family. If you're traveling by yourself, I'm sure it could be much cheaper. So I came back to pick up the authenticated documents from the Chinese consulate. The next step then was to scan all of the authenticated documents over to my employer, because then they needed to apply for a work permit. I think I got my work permit back in like 2 weeks, so it was like super duper fast. So my school emailed me back. They said, here's your work permit, here's your invitation letter, and then they sent me 2 certificates that were in Chinese. So I don't know what they say, but I'm printing them all. Then it was time to apply for the visa. This is when it really starts getting stressful, right? Because you're like, okay, I've read all the Reddit threads, I've gone to the website, I've double checked my documents, I've done the application online, and this is when it starts getting real. Okay, so for the visa, you need to go online and you need to fill out the application for the Chinese visa, whichever one you're getting. You need to fill out all the documents. You must type in capital letters. If you do not type in capital letters, it is not going to be accepted. They are going to comb through that application, okay? If your name has a space between 2 letters on your passport and on your application, you didn't put that space, you're gonna have to do the application all over again. There is no option to edit an application after you submit it. So you're just going to have to keep doing new applications until you get it right. So I would advise, if you're going to DIY this yourself, I would advise you to take your laptop with you to the consulate. I would also advise you to get there as soon as they open, because then that gives you time to fix your mistakes, especially if you're traveling from a different state. That gives you time to fix your mistakes, go to FedEx, print it out, get back in line, double check, make sure that when you go, you leave with your documents accepted. So first is the application. My husband has 2 capital letters in his name, but on his passport, it's a space, because on the passport, it's all caps. I didn't pick up on that, so we had to redo his application. Then so when I went to the consulate, I'm like, hey, I'm here to do some visa applications. Here's everything that I have. Like, let me know what I need, yada, yada, yada. I ended up needing quite a few photocopies of my documents. So remember I told you when I did authentication, I photocopied all of those authentications. When I went to the visa application, I was assuming that they would take the originals. They still wanted the photocopies. So they took the originals of some and then they didn't take the originals of others. I really can't remember which, so just photocopy everything. In Chicago, they do have a copier there. It's 25 cents per sheet, but it's cash only. And of course, I didn't bring any cash. So I had to go to the FedEx. It was like a 5-minute walk. So the website is very, very specific, but it also leaves like some room for interpretation. So for my Z visa, some of the things that I didn't have that weren't listed on the website was a photocopy of my actual driver's license. I had a photocopy of our passports. I had multiple of those, but I didn't have photocopies of my actual driver's license, I guess to prove residency. So I needed to get those. I needed to photocopy like the birth certificate again, the marriage certificate, all my documents I needed to photocopy again. They accept all of our documents. Then they tell me come back in 4 business days to pick them up. And I came back and we got it. It really was not a difficult process. I think because I had done so much research, I was like reading Reddit threads and going to the website. I was like trying to find YouTube videos. There weren't a whole lot of YouTube videos out there. So I really relied heavily on Reddit, other teachers that were already over there, and just trying to be overly prepared. If you are traveling with family, let's say you're a teacher and you are coming with your dependents, they will apply for an S1 visa. Now you do need an invitation letter. The only thing that's tricky on the application is that when you're doing the S1 visa, it says who's inviting you and what's their like residency permit number. Well, I don't have a residency permit number because we're all going together. So on the application, I just put applying at the same time, and I used the invitation letter from my school as the invitation letter on their package. So the school put, we're inviting Brianna over, and she's coming with her dependents, my husband and my daughter. So make sure that you have that invitation letter if you are going with the family. Try to get one from the school that has your dependent's name on it, because it'll have a red stamp, and I think it's just much easier to use it that way. So that was the process of getting our visas. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, tips, tricks, or anything you want to say, leave it in the comment. Be sure to follow us on all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, and of course YouTube at Ghostins Going Places. That's our new handle. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for your support. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for another video.